The Department of Justice has confirmed it received the criminal referral on stunning claims Obama administration officials manufactured and politicized intelligence about false Russian collusion in the 2016 presidential election. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard released a declassified report containing more than 100 pages of emails, memos, and internal communications. And joining us this morning to discuss is the former head of the Chicago PD and 23-year veteran of the FBI as a special agent in charge, Jody Weeks. Good morning to you, Jody.
Good morning.
Gabbard claims these documents show former President Obama directed John Brennan, James Comey, Susan Rice, James Clapper, among others, to produce manufactured intelligence to undermine President Trump after he was elected. Just from your experience and your years in the FBI, what were your thoughts when you heard about this, especially that it affected some of the top leaders of the intelligence community?
Jan, without a doubt, if this is true, this is the biggest political scandal in my lifetime. Let's think about this. You have a sitting president of the United States who directs a team to fabricate an intel assessment showing that the Russians were involved in the 2016 election, trying to influence it to favor Donald Trump. Now, that assessment apparently contradicted assessments before and after the election, saying that it was a very low probability that Russia had actually interfered in the election. And why was this done? To undermine an incoming president. You know, Jan, for a year we have heard how Donald Trump was a threat to our democracy. We've heard that until our ears have bled. But if this is true, that is a threat to our democracy, and it must be investigated.
I want to go back to something you said, because what's so striking is that a Senate committee and two special counsels didn't see this during their investigation years ago. I want to read you what Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard said about that. She said this on Sunday Morning Futures. There is no rational or logical explanation for why they failed. The only logical conclusion that I can draw in this is that there was direct intent to cover up the truth about what occurred and who was responsible, and the broad network of how this seditious conspiracy was concocted and who exactly was responsible for carrying it out. What's your response to that? And what's next in all of this, Jody?
Well, let's look at what's going to happen. First, there's going to be an in-depth review of her report. And you got to remember, there's a couple reports out there that actually support what the President Obama put out. The Mueller report, the Durham report, they did say there was election interference. You had a Senate report that went along with that. But then you had Devin Nunes's report that actually supported what Tulsi Gabbard said.
Right.
So there's going to be a massive document review. If it's accurate, though, how did they miss it? 3 different reports came forward and they missed this. It begs the question, incompetence, which perhaps could be, but what would be worse? What if it was intentional because of the people involved? Luckily, on Sunday, I heard from Director Gabbard that she's had some whistleblowers come forward. That is a huge change in the equation, because now, after a thorough, tedious document review, if you now have individuals that you can talk to discuss your findings, that is a really big deal. And hopefully, let's pray that we will get to the bottom of this.
Will there be indictments and prosecutions finally?
You know, Jan, there has to be. There's been so many explosive allegations. We've got a report that Comey and Brennan are under investigation. Now we get an allegation that involves a sitting president, Barack Obama. If there are no indictments and no prosecutions, this administration has to give a very candid and a very thorough explanation as to why not. Otherwise, they're going to lose all credibility, and they will become a modern-day little boy who cried wolf story. But there has to be accountability in our government. Without accountability, there is no trust. So I can tell you right now, the Department of Justice and the FBI, they are definitely on the clock, because they're going to have to deliver on this one way or the other.
In your experience, how long will this take?
Oh, that's tough to say. Look at these special counsel. They go on for years. But I've got to think this is so explosive. I hope we would get something in 3 to 6 months. Maybe I'm being optimistic, but it cannot go on for years. And there has to be updates as to what is going on. Otherwise, people are just going to look at this and go, yeah, another nothing burger.
Former FBI Special Agent in Charge and former Chicago Police Chief Jody Weeks. Great to see you, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Jan.